What's going on, everyone? So I've talked a lot about Austin Reaves since the announcement that he is expected to sign $30 million. Now, have my concerns, I have my issues, or $30 plus million, but I have my concerns, I have my issues with him and Luka in the backcourt, right? I just feel like Austin Reaves is too similar to Luka. He's, wish version of Luka. Worry about the defense. I think you're going to have some real athletes and defensive versatile players if you're going to make that backcourt work. You're going to have a real defensive center, right? And people look at like Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving and stuff, but those guys were better just natural scorers, right? In particular, Kyrie Irving, right? I don't think you can compare those two. Austin Reaves right now is better than that version of Jalen Brunson several years ago, right? Because remember, that version was not the New York Knicks franchise player Jalen Brunson, right? Austin Reaves, though, he's not that just naturally gifted scorer. He's good at getting to his spots and understands kind of his level of scoring and being able to create the contact and, the foul baiting and stuff like that. But I've talked a lot about Austin Reaves, my concerns and whatnot, but I want to talk about kind of the pros and cons of trading Austin Reaves, because I'm somebody that's not against trading Austin Reaves. I don't think he's a bad player. Like, a lot of people try to make him out like he's just this bum. I don't think he's a total bum, right? But I don't think he's the superstar that other people kind of make him out to be. I think there's these two extremes, right? It's like he's, the second coming of Michael Jordan, or he's out of the league in 2 years. He's a good basketball player, right? He is a guy that if he's your third player, you're probably a very good basketball team. He's a guy that I think is, a borderline all-star guy, right? But that doesn't mean that he's the guy that you want slotted in alongside Luka as your franchise cornerstones moving forward. I just think there's too much redundancy and stuff. And I do think if you can find that proper trade, that proper piece to better improve the Lakers, I think you do that. Again, I don't want to trade Austin Reaves for a bag of chips. I don't want to trade Austin Reaves for, I've used Colin Sexton as an example. I wouldn't do something like that. That's pointless. But if you could turn him into, a Dyson Daniels or, a Herb Jones package or, something along those lines to where this is a piece that makes sense for now and the future. Jalen Suggs, right? Things like that. Those are the kind of moves that I just think, yes, Austin Reaves, you might be able to argue is better or whatever, but what's best for the Lakers, right? What's best for the team and to slot and build alongside Luka Doncic, and what gives you the best chance of winning, long term? Austin Reaves during the regular season is fantastic. Playoffs, though, right? That's the problem, is the playoffs. These last two playoff runs, he's not been great. Now, look, that doesn't mean he can't improve. That doesn't mean he can't get better. And look, maybe he does adapt and evolve and works on his three-point shot and stuff. Again, I don't want to put him in a box to where, he can't get better or he can't improve. Of course he can. There's always ways if he knows okay, I'm going to be alongside Luka this whole time, but he needs to get stronger, right? He needs to improve his three-point shooting. He needs to find ways to be able to score without having to generate and draw contact. There's a lot of things that he has to work on and develop, right? But even then, even through all that, I still think that, there's better just fits and options for the Lakers. But here's where the dilemma lies, right? Austin Reaves was great when he was, $14 million a year, putting up 25 and 5, right? That's awesome. It's man, he's one of the best value contracts in the league. Absolutely, of course, right? But now that you're at this impasse, right? And you have this kind of crossroad where it's okay, what direction do we go? Now the small contract is hurting you, right? Because the problem with trying to trade him right now, and which is why I kind of lean towards the Lakers are probably going to have to give him a new contract regardless. Either they sign and trade him or they give him a new contract, see how it looks for a year, and then in 2027 trade him, right? If it doesn't work out, maybe it does, right? Maybe the Lakers are able to work it out. Maybe he is fantastic. Again, we won't know until we get to that point, right? Right now, we're trying to judge Austin Reaves based on him being the third option with LeBron James and Luka Doncic alongside him. And yes, there's going to be games and moments and stretches and sample sizes, but they're all going to be limited. It's one thing to have a 10-game stretch where Luka and Austin Reaves get to cook. It's another thing when it's an entire 82-game season plus the playoffs, plus you're now responsible, because it's easy to go hey, I don't have to do this forever. LeBron's going to be back at some point. right? It's another thing when it's like you don't have that help coming. So now I gotta consistently be that guy. That's the problem, the consistency. But for example, right now, Jalen Suggs. Let's say Orlando's like, hey, we'll give you Jalen Suggs for Austin Reaves. Let's even go a little crazier, right? Say they go, hey, we'll give you Jalen Suggs and 3 first-round picks for Austin Reaves, right? Did Orlando hit their head? Oh my gosh, let's do that right now. You can't, right? Because again, you can't trade Austin Reaves because he doesn't have the salary, right? So again, the Lakers, if they found that move, obviously Orlando's not going to do that. I was using that as an extreme example, right? But even if they wanted to trade right now, straight up Jalen Suggs for Austin Reaves, right? You can't do that. So now it's like, okay, now you're doing Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura. Now is that both worth a Jalen Suggs? Maybe. To some people, yes. To some people, no. But is that the best allocation of your assets, right? Especially when you're getting value. And are they willing to give assets at that point? Or like, can you find a medium and a common ground? Again, I'm not against trading Austin Reaves, but you have to get value. He's one of your best assets as far as, being able to improve and upgrade the roster, right? Whether you think he's a bum or not, there's other teams that don't. There's other teams that think he's good and that'd be willing to trade and part with assets and stuff. What is that package, right? Is it a Desmond Bane level package? But here's the thing about Desmond Bane. He had the money attached to him. So you were able to do a trade to yield back a couple players as well as assets. Right? So the Lakers, the problem with trying to trade Austin Reaves right now is he doesn't have the salary to back any type of trade to get a significant piece. If we were looking to rebuild, then yeah, you could probably trade him and there's a team that'd probably give you 3 firsts for him or something like that, or a young player in a couple firsts or something, right? Like you might be able to find a team that's willing to pony up and land Austin Reaves because they see the value in him. But that's not where we're at as the Lakers. We're trying to win every single season with Luka Doncic. So you're not trying to do a asset package unless you're doing that asset package to then turn around and use those assets to go make a trade. But then you still need the salary to do so, right? Like let's say you turn Austin Reaves in the offseason and a sign and trade into 3 firsts. That's great. Now you have, potentially 5 or 6 firsts, but you still need to make salaries work, stuff like that. Like, yeah, you could have enough salary to give a team a huge trade exception and stuff, but again, usually teams want a player back or players back, or if you have to do a multi-team deal, or if you're working out a trade for, a second apron team and they need a shed salary, like there's just a lot of factors that go into it. So it makes trading Austin Reaves right now very difficult and challenging unless you're getting a higher tier guy, right? Giannis becomes available and goes, I only want to go to the Lakers. Right? I still don't think the Lakers have the package for him, but just forget that for a moment. Let's say they're just like, Milwaukee's like, man, Austin Reaves is exactly what we want, right? To build around the future. Okay, well, yeah, something like that. It's like Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, but you're giving up everything. As long as it's not Luka and LeBron, here you go, you can have it. It's yours, right? Hey, I just bought a soda. You want that too? Like in a sandwich. You want that too? It's yours. Here you go. Right? You trade everything if you have to in order to get Giannis, right? But that doesn't necessarily, you don't have to necessarily go get a superstar for Austin Reaves. You just need to get something that makes sense, right? You need to get something that will improve this Lakers roster enough to warrant that trade. Again, even if you could argue, like a Dyson Daniels right now, you can argue Austin Reaves is better, right? But Dyson Daniels is exactly what this team needs. The Lakers will probably be better with Dyson Daniels than they will be with Austin Reaves because of what Dyson Daniels can do on both sides of the basketball court. Plus, he's young. He can be that foundation piece. He can defend 1 through 3, gives you the 3-and-D style guard that you want to slot in alongside Luka Doncic, and he's doing it at like a historic level. Now, again, I don't think Atlanta would necessarily trade him, but you get the point, right? Like, the Lakers can't even make some of these moves that you would want to make if you were to trade for an Austin Reaves, and then any superstar trade, you're trading everything anyway, so like that doesn't matter. But it'd also be nice to have Austin Reaves making 30+ million to kind of better facilitate that trade. So maybe you can keep, a Jake LaRavia or something like that. So that way it's not just like your 3 stars and a bunch of vet minimum guys, right? Like, you want to still be able to round out rosters and do all those other things. So, the The problem is, like, Lakers trading Austin Reaves right now, I just don't think is super realistic. Not if you're looking to get real value for Austin Reaves. And look, I am not against trading Austin Reaves at all. Trade him tomorrow. I don't care. But you can't just trade him just to trade him. That is foolishness. That's a bad use of your assets. You have to get something in return that makes sense. How do you do that? Right? You're probably going to have to give him a new contract at $32 million a year or whatever, and then now you can trade him. And I know there's going to be people that'll be like, oh, he's not worth that. There's teams that are willing to do it. Like, there's always that team that's going to think Austin Reaves, 28, he's averaging 28, 6 and 8 without LeBron. If he can do that here, there's always a team that's going to take the flyer, take the chance, that's going to think that he's the guy. Oh my God, he could have gotten 50 million, but he got 30 million. There's always that team out there that's willing to pony up what's needed. But now he's on a sizable enough contract in order to go and pull that off and make it make sense. So I just think realistically, if you're somebody that wants the Lakers to trade Austin Reaves, one, I don't think the Lakers are actually going to trade him. But two, even if they were, it doesn't make sense really to do so until next season, right? To then go trade, whether it's a star like a Giannis or Jokic, or just like that guy that becomes available where it's like, hey, we could go get this guy right now. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.